Part 48. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 476. Chapter 476 Crisis. In the seemingly messy Myriad Tomb City, a line of cultivators that didn't attract attention, went to the front of a secret place in the city. After one of the cultivators took out a jade talisman like a pass, a gap appeared in the cyan spirit lighthood outside the secret place, and the pedestrians all sneaked in. This secret place residence in Myriad Tomb City should also be the most superior level of residence, plus Myriad Tomb City, and not like the Sea Immortal City originally spiritual vein, inch of gold. This secret place residence, not only has a 2 near the pavilion, and the front also has a great treasure film spirit field, the spirit field inside is also planted more than 10 kinds of spiritual herb. Look long, the trend is very good appearance. Nangong looking. You are? How are you so familiar? This pedestrian walked directly through spirit field and entered the pavilion inside, which quickly revealed the surging sound of Xuanhuan. If you think about it, you should not only look at me, but also look familiar with the old style. In the secret treasure hall of the secret place, Xuanhuan and Jiya have all appeared. Xuanhuan is frowning, and can't think of it, looking at some chunky Zhangzhuayu. Old style. When I heard Zhangzhuayu say, Xuanhuan stunned and looked at Feng Ziya with a smile. Xuanhuan suddenly responded. He extended his fingers and pointed Zhangzhuayu and Feng Ziya. Oh, you guys, it was when we hunted twin-headed canine. Wind great treasure, brother. At this time, a surging sound like thunder, like surprise giant treasure called surging sound rang. It was the great treasure brain simple duo who also walked into this great treasure hall at this time, and this surging sound great treasure called, it was issued by Zhen Chongming. Zhen Chongming was following Fei Ziya before following Wei Suo, and after the accident of hunting twin-headed canine, he and Zhu Xiaochun followed Wei Suo's. Zhen Chongming, don't come innocent. Feng Ziya saw Zhen Chongming, but he was just a smile, because on the way, he was already informed by Wei Suo's mouth that Chen Chongming is also here. Wind treasure, I can't think of you, but I thought you were dead. You were so hurt, but now you haven't even done shapeshift great art. I have already worshipped Wei Suo to be a great treasure brother. Now I can only follow him. Zhen Chongming rushed to Feng Ziya and gave Feng Ziya a bear hug, but it was another serious saying. This sentence makes Feng Ziya a little bit too sorrowful. You actually have the cultivation base of the thought division realm? And more than the thought division realm third layer? How is your cultivation base getting so fast? While looking at Zhangzhuayu and Feng Ziya, Xuanhuan was somewhat depressed. To put it simply, this time, Brother Wei wants to go to the Cave of Reverend's Cave to explore the great treasure, but finds that the good things in the Reverend Cave house are divided by 3 people. And we are the 3 people. Zhangzhuayu haha smiled. Your luck is so good, I found a cave of ancient cultivator. Xuanhuan clicked on Shi Fiking, who was still in a cold posture, and asked about Zhuayu and Feng Ziya. This guy is also your friend. Is his head a problem? A little problem with my head. Yeah, I mean, is he still more than Zhen Chongming? Otherwise how has it always been like this? No, hearing that Xuanhuan said, Shi Fiking almost fell to the ground. At this time, Jiya and Nangong Yuking looked at each other, smiled and nodded and said hello. What, Wei Suo, after 3 days, are you going to Qingcheng ruins to explore the great treasure? I also need to go. After everyone chilled for a while, Wei Suo also said that the trip to Extreme Pleasure Palace and Li Ruohei and others met to explore the great treasure. When Wei Suo went to explore the great treasure, Xuanhuan immediately excitedly called. It is very dangerous to go to Qingcheng ruins this time. The other ones are golden core stage great treasure cultivator. You are still here, closed door cultivation. I am more convenient. Wei Suo shook his head and said, this time I brought my 3 brothers together, and it is because their 3 cultivation bases are not weak. You are together and the strength is amazing. And in this Myriad Tomb City, culture should be very safe. You said that I was tired. Don't you look down on my Xiaoyan? Listening to Wei Suo, Han Weiwei suddenly turned his mouth unwillingly. If you face the golden core cultivator now, the most serious treasure, or the gap in divine consciousness. If you encounter divine consciousness pressure far exceeds your cultivator, divine consciousness pressure, you have a powerful shapeshift great art, too late to sacrifice. Your primal chaos Yunwei happens to be the divine consciousness strong great treasure, which can withstand the divine consciousness pressure of the golden core cultivator. Wei Suo looked at Han Weiwei. Because your primal chaos Yunwei is so powerful, you'd better stay in this secret place. With your primal chaos Yunwei, you should face the golden core stage cultivator. As for the loss. After a pause, Wei Suo looked at Han Weiwei and Ji Ya again. And I gambled with heaven catching Reverend and got this medicine pill say, Wei Suo reached out and pointed a white pill bottle to Han Weiwei and Ji Ya. Tai Dao pill, just open the white pill bottle and glance at the smell of medicine pill. Han Weiwei and Ji Ya's face are obviously shocked. Golden core cultivator intercourse streams, almost everything that is suitable for the golden core cultivator the high level of rank is beyond my imagination Wei Suo looked at Ji Ya and Han Weiwei. This time I was at the Extreme Pleasure Palace. Not only did the gambling get this genuine Dao pill, but also the intercourse changed to a snow white buttling Dao pill and one can quench my mind. Vajra heart refining method. What do you mean, can senior sister start preparing for core formation? Han Weiwei couldn't help but screamed after staying. If you change to another medicine pill, Han Weiwei, a non-incoming refiner, may not know. But this product is really Dao pill, Han Weiwei is no stranger. Because Ji Ya used to refine United Void Pellet, and this product, Dao pill, is similar to United Void Pellet's medicine pill, and it's not surprising that United Void Pellet is even more amazing. United Void Pellet is a cultivator that allows the following cultivation base of the thought division realm to directly promote the rank 1 cultivation base, while the product Dao pill is a cultivation base that can upgrade the thought division realm above the cultivator. It is said that the cultivator below the thought division realm 3rd layer, refining a genuine Dao pill, can also directly promote the rank 1 cultivation base. Now Ji Ya is about to break through the cultivation base of the thought division 5th layer. If refining this product, Dao pill, it is definitely possible to break through the cultivation base of the thought division 5th layer. Although the product Dao pill has a lot of side effects, but now Wei Suo has an amethyst fox rose in hand, but it is not necessary to consider this point. Can use the product Dao pill to break through the cultivation base of the thought division realm 5th layer, amethyst fox rose, snow white butt Dao pill and sharp shift great art, plus the last beautiful woman immortal pill for Ji Ya, the impact of golden core realm, just need some time to retreat. The impact of golden core's lust can't be slow. So you have to stay in this secret place to protect her shapeshift great art, as well as your cultivation, and try to be as close as possible. Looking at Han Weiwei, Wei Suo nodded a little dignifiedly. Wei Suo, is there any urgent matter? Ji Ya is extremely acquainted with Wei Suo. When she looked at Wei Suo's look, she suddenly felt a little worried and immediately asked for surging sound. The news may be completely spread in 2 or 3 days. Heavenly profound continent northern part heaven's dome, 2 days ago, broke 2 holes in the same day, and more than 20 cities sent shapeshift great art the array is damaged Wei Suo explained in a concise manner, although the damage of more than 20 cities is only because an unknown monster beast has damaged the broken shapeshift great art crystal inside, this heaven's dome has 2 cracks in 1 day, but it is never before. And even Northern Bright Sect started sending high-level cultivators, 4 secret places to spread the news, and began to recruit some high-level cultivators to go to heavenly profound continent northern part to kill monster beast if my predictions are correct. The Northern Bright sect must be more aware of the changes in Heaven's Dome powerful energy than any section therefore, the power of Heaven's Dome is reduced, I am afraid it has reached an extremely serious point after the meal. Wei Suo added a sentence. Although talking to Li Ruohe's previous intercourse, the two did not mention Heaven's Dome, but Wei Suo mentioned Northern Bright Sect and Li Ruohe's Watch Shift Great Art. Wei Suo, you mean, Heaven's Dome Great Treasure, the Heaven's Dome of the northern part of the house, there may be a lot of collapse at any time, causing the possibility of cultivation world Great Treasure. When we heard Wei Suo say, the face of Han Wei and Ji Ya suddenly changed. With just a few gaps in the northern part Heaven's Dome, that's it? The key to this Heaven's Dome's mystery is that divine mystic realm Great Treasure can't be figured out at all. If this Heaven's Dome is also like a restrictions, it will be difficult to judge if it breaks after the damage. Wei Suo looked at Han Wei and Ji Ya. If there is a gap next, or in the heavenly profound continent northern part, then many of the cities in the heavenly profound continent northern part are prepared, but if they are somewhere else, or saying that many secret places also have gaps at the same time, the consequences are catastrophic. There are gaps in many places, and there won't be such a thing. Han Wei said that some of his face was white. All the cultivator naturally do not want to appear such things, but if this has been maintained for many years Heaven's Dome, in our secret place in this era of rupture, it is not done shape-shift great art, the is northern bright sect reaction, let me feel to have to do the worst of the plan, then if really appear I say lust condition, then we cultivator and monster beast status is completely in turn, we cultivator will secret place at an absolute disadvantage. Wei Suo took a deep breath. It is right to upgrade your cultivation base and strength as quickly as possible. Dedication. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 477. Chapter 477 Whisper. Almost all monster beasts have a natural awe of Heaven's Dome. Vertex novels, handwriting novels. This sense of awe is not as much awesome as Great Treasure compared to the cultivator's awe of Heaven's Dome. Because the cultivator only fears the divine ability of the cultivator that created Heaven's Dome at the time, the monster beast hits Heaven's Dome but is dying. The body of the cultivator, the chi and blood, and even the golden core of the cultivator above the golden core, all of which are the abounds of origin chi and spiritual chi. The cultivator is for many high-level monster beasts, which are equivalent to the spiritual of the cultivation base. Herb, spiritual stones. Heaven's Dome, the vast treasure of the land treasure cultivator tens of thousands of cities, cultivator countless, Heaven's Dome, for the monster beast, is a giant great treasure of the tune. Usually there is Heaven's Dome. It's okay, great treasure. Most of the monster beast is still in awe of nature. I don't dare to be too close to Heaven's Dome. But if this Heaven's Dome disappears or rips, then countless monster beast will flock to it. Grab this piece of tune. At that time, I am afraid that the monster beast density in heavenly profound continent will be many times higher than that of Heaven's Dome. However, it is said that this ancient existence, and the feeling of giving all cultivators, will continue to exist in Heaven's Dome. It is likely to be unable to support, let alone Han Wei or Ji Ya, and even discuss this with Wei Suo. The matter of Zhang Xuanhuan and others at the moment thinks of it, there is still a feeling that can't be believed at all. Right, now how many of your heaven-mending pellets have been refining? Wei Suo glanced at Han Wei, who had apparently been convinced by him, and turned to look at Zhen Chongming. Heaven-mending pellet? Old great treasure, you are not talking about this heaven-mending pellet, can't let any outsider know? Now they are here, are you still asking me? Zhen Chongming heard amazed Zhang's great treasure. Hearing that Chen Chongming said, Wei Suo is also burning with the desire and crying. Well, this guy has also been with Feng Zhao, but now he has asked him, but he still Feng Zhao as an outsider, did not want to say heaven-mending pellet in front of Feng Zhao. Wind great treasure brothers, 3 of them have been with my brothers, not outsiders, in front of them 3, can mention this thing lust, but in addition to the 3 of them, but cannot talk to anyone about heaven-mending pellet 3 words. In the face of such a guy with a lack of roots in his head, Wei Suo did not dare to save effort, and the detailed intercourse was a sentence. Heaven mending pellet. This medicine pill, originally Weisuo, is prepared for the three people Fengziao, Zhangzhuayu, and Shi Zhangqing. Especially after the trip to Extreme Pleasure Palace, after seeing the people of heaven catching Reverend and the so-called Idol Cloud Alliance, Weisuo realized that a cultivator is not a trustworthy strong great treasure friend. Thin. After all, Weisuo is now even more powerful, and it is impossible to rival heaven catching Reverend and add a few golden core cultivators. Zhangzhuayu and Fengziao are intercourse lust who have had a life with him. He also said that Zhangzhuayu and Fengziao have said that Shi Zhangqing and they have also experienced life and death. These three people are for Weisuo. It is absolutely trustworthy. Now with the return of True Dao pill and other things, in the Weisuo's prediction, Jiya's impact on the golden core is only a matter of the past 2 years, and the success rate can be said to be extremely great treasure. Then if Zhangzhuayu can also become a golden core cultivator, the power of Weisuo can be said to be extremely great treasure, even if it is sin, such as Yin Corpse sect, unless it is related to the life and death of sect, absolutely I dare not provoke them. And now his name surging sound is gradually great treasure, and certainly will be a great treasure, the sect like the Yin Corpse sect, the power of the top sect of Mystic Wind sect and Northern Bright sect, I don't know how many gaps, with the strength of Weisuo, of course, still dare not feel arrogant to think that they can be left without any scruples. Heaven mending pellet. This pill recipe of medicine pill is always in the hands of Weisuos and is unlikely to be circulated. Now the stronger the person around him, the better for him, and the heaven mending pellet, the medicine pill, which opened up the divine sea before the golden core realm, opened the divine sea to heaven level low grade. At the level, after the golden core cultivation base, there is no secret place. Oh, old great treasure. Since you said that they are not outsiders, then I will say after hearing Weisuo's intercourse, Zhen Chongming replied honestly, because the time is not long enough, our culture's heaven mending pellet has only more than 100. That starts today, the heaven mending pellet that you refine, plus the 3 of them and Nangong Yuking, you have all the refining Weisuo side and intercourse. Heaven mending pellet, what is this medicine pill? Zhangzhuayu and the other 3 looked at each other and couldn't help but ask. Zhen Chongming, you come out with 3 heaven mending pellets, Weisuo said directly to Zhen Chongming. Hearing Weisuo, Zhen Chongming obediently took out 3 heaven mending pellets and handed them to Weisuo, while Weisuo gave 1 to 1, facing Zhangzhuayu and Fengziao and Shi Zhangqing. When you try to refining, you should know what kind of medicine pill it is. What good things, so God's secret place. Zhangzhuayu heard Weisuo saying so, could not help but smile and said the sentence. But the 3 people swallowed this medicine pill, but after a while, the faces of the 3 people changed all of a sudden, and they all had an incredible look. Weisuo, you are not kidding us. Is this actually the Divine Sea's medicine pill? Even Shi Zhangqing, who has always been cool, can't look at it, and it seems like a ghost. You 3 understand why I am so secret place, intercourse waiting for Zhen Chongming to mention this heaven mending pellet. In response to the 3 people, Weisuo did not look unexpected, and smiled slightly. Understood. Shi Zhangqing nodded again and again. Zhen Chongming, if you don't listen to the fact that you have said this medicine pill, then I will definitely cut you into 17 and 8 paragraphs. Zhangzhuayu immediately said to Zhen Chongming. Weisuo, did you get ancient pill recipe? I don't think there is such a medicine pill. Fengziao is again and again. He naturally knows that this medicine pill will cause all sects to fight at any cost. I am afraid that even the golden core 4/5 layer, even the divine mystic realm cultivator, will not be seen in person. I did get such an ancient pill recipe, but this medicine pill can only open divine sea to the level of equivalent to heaven level low grade. It just happens to be day, and it should be useful before condensing golden core. The effect is not as amazing as you think. Weisuo looked at the 3 people, but your cultivation base is now ready to use the heaven mending pellet to upgrade the divine sea. When core formation is reached, the golden core will increase. However, the flaw is that this heaven-mending pellet must have some mottled drug residue. It is better to prepare a spicy herb like amethyst fox rose before impacting the core formation. This flaw is not a defect for us at all, because our cultivation base is also dependent on medicine pill and divine Yuan ginseng medicinal cauldron left by Miao Dan Reverend. There is definitely a lot of remedy in our naked body. Without your heaven-mending pellet, we also want to do shapeshift great art to get some of the spicy herb that can eliminate the medicinal properties of the naked body. Zhang Zhuai sighed and patted Wei Suo's shoulder. It seems that the most sensible thing in my life is the understanding of your brother. I also thought about what you said, and I am sure that you will not reject heaven-mending pellet. Wei Suo is also he smile. You just want me not to go to Jiyat. Haha, even if I am old and self-righteous, I will never feel that I am more important than my younger brother. Zhang Zhuai is also he smile, and I have a deep look at Jiyat, Nangong Yuking, and Han Weiwei. Look at what I do. Han Weiwei was slightly hairy by Zhang Zhuai, turned the head, and secretly slammed a surging sound. So, Wei Suo, are you determined to have a person and Li Ruohe join hands to explore the great treasure? Feng Zhao also smiled and immediately said. Even if I have an accident alone, it is convenient to escape. Wei Suo nodded and said, and to go to Qingcheng ruins, it is going through the many cities of heavenly profound continent northern part, and finally from Taisu city. Just take this opportunity to find out what the situation of Heaven's Dome is. If there is any amazing change in the entire cultivation world, we will be ready soon. After saying this, Wei Suo eyes flash, said to Jiyat, during this time, you can also let Zhu Xiaochun spare more time to prepare the medicine needed to cultivate immortal slaying vine. Good. Jiyat seems to understand that Wei Suo's wants shapeshift great art and nods. You must definitely prepare something next. In this case, if there is nothing, we will go to culture first. After Feng Zhao and Zhang Zhuai and Shi Fiqing looked at each other, they all had a sly look. After Wei Suo said that nothing happened, Zhen Chongming and Zhu Xiaochun took the three of them to the spare room, and there were only Wei Suo and Jiyat, Nangong Yuking, and Han Weiwei in this great treasure hall. 4 people. Weiwei, you also go back to culture. I have something to say to Wei Suo and Nangong Yuking alone. After the departure of Feng Zhao and others, Jiyat also said this to Han Weiwei. I can't listen to anything. Han Weiwei suddenly burst into a mouth, a very unpleasant look. Weiwei. Good. After seeing Jia stunned her, Han Weiwei was very unwilling to twist the small waist and left the great treasure hall. Nangong Yuking, we used to see 1 or 2 sides in Spirit Peak City. Jia watched Han Weiwei leave and looked at Nangong Yuking and said, but I never knew your age. I am 33 this year. I don't know how old you are. I am 35. Nangong Yuking smiled. It's 2 years older than Great Shopkeeper G. Great Treasure. It's better than my great treasure. Wei Suo lamented in the heart of a surging sound. However, for the cultivator, the age of 30 years old can be said to be very young, and because of the moisturization of spiritual qi, the female cultivator of the age of 70 can be no different from the woman of the age of 10. Wei Suo surging sound. Of course, I don't think that the two are older, but the heart is a little sweet. Jia is daring to call you elder sister. Yuking elder sister, don't call me great shopkeeper Ji anymore. Jia looked at Nangong Yuking with a smile and swept Wei Suo, but he was serious again. You and he, I have already listened to him. Even if he doesn't say it, I feel it, and he and you are also loving each other. I want to ask elder sister to form Deo companion with him too. Do you know if elder sister has any opinions? Kid, it really makes you say it, you are so blessed. Nangong Yuking gave Wei Suo a glance and passed on such a look. Yuking elder sister, you don't need to have too many concerns. You and him know each other, and there is lust in between. If you don't have lust, I naturally can't separate him a little bit. Nangong Yuking didn't say anything at the moment, but Jia thought she had concerns and said seriously, and I asked elder sister to form Deo companion with him. There are other important reasons. At this time, Nangong Yuking has already felt from the heart that Wei Suo would say that Jiya would understand his lust intention. It is obvious that Jiya is wholeheartedly interested in Wei Suo, and her lust means that Wei Suo naturally does not cherish, nature will also treat her wholeheartedly. But when I heard Jiya at the moment, Nangong Yuking was slightly confused. Other important reasons. You also go to cultivation first, and I have something to say to Yuking elder sister alone. Jiya stunned Wei Suo, who was obediently dressed up, and a surging sound. Ah! I can't listen. Wei Suo was a bit dumbfounded. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 478. Nothing. I just happened to see a few more classics that I can't see. Wei Suo looked at Du Kuyu, who admired himself and smiled faintly. I used to think that Wei Daiyu despised me, but now it doesn't seem to be the case at all. Du Kuai arched his hand at Wei Suo again, but hesitantly said, Wei Daiyu, still thinking. I would like to ask, how about the medicinal properties of the sandalwood toad beads today? Is it to be refined at one time, or can it be swallowed and slowly refined? And if the beads are refined, the body emits a breath similar to Shenxian monk, is it always emanating, or can it converge? The medicinal properties of Tan Chanzu are not violent that day, and it doesn't take much time to refine it. Taking Daiu's Ziwei as an estimate, it can be completely refined in less than half a column of incense. Wei Suo, looking at Du Kuyi, said, as for the breath resembling the monk, it is also naturally formed in the aura exhaled by our monks. As long as there is a technique that can hide the breath, you can send and receive freely. It turned out to be so. Then I would like to thank Wei Daiyu. Du Kuyu's eyeballs turned, and immediately a look of joy, directly looked up and swallowed Tiantan Chanzu into his mouth. Seeing his move, almost all the monks present had no unexpected expressions. This kind of treasure that can be refined immediately, and it is beneficial to walk outside the sky dome and explore treasures, is of course the best for direct refinement, so that it can be snatched away. Only when Du Kuyi asked Wei Suo how this was refined, the monks present had already seen his intentions. Wei Daiyu's words were really good. We owe Wei Daiyu a love this time, and he only swallowed Tiantan Chanzu in his belly. It seemed that he only felt a little, and Du Kuyi immediately said to Wei Suo with joy and conviction. This sentence, and his body immediately exudes a hint of strange fragrance. The aura outside Du Kuyu's body was originally condensed into a single eye, but with the scent of this strange fragrance, a little milky aura began to appear on the eyes outside him, and the aura seemed to be still. It will be thicker, and it will produce more changes. All the attention of the monks present all gathered on Du Kuyu's body for a while. Wei Daiyu, your knowledge is really extraordinary. You originally won this game, and now it is a competition between us, but it seems that this kind of refining of the sandalwood toad beads has not been seen by the Daiyu. If we wait for Du Daiyu to complete the refining and see how the atmosphere similar to the monk of God profound realm is, how about the last competition? At this time, Tian Luo, who had no expression on his face, looked at Wei Suo, who was smiling. Having said that, of course it is. Anyway, I just know this thing, and I have never seen the legendary God Profound Realm Master. Feel the breath of God Profound Realm Master is also good, Wei Suo said indifferently. For the separation there is no hurry to win or lose. Hearing Wei Suo say this, Tian Luo lively sneered secretly, not much to say, just turned his head to watch the changes in Du Kuyu's body. This pearl is really wonderful. This is a record in the classics. The physical changes that will appear only when the impact of Shenxian is close to success. I can't think it will be displayed on Du Daiyu at this moment. In just a moment, a Jin Dan monk, wearing a scale-like vest, could not help but utter a marvel. There are only a few monks of the God Profound Realm known throughout the Tianxian continent, and only the Windthroat true monarch of the Xianfeng Gate, etc. And because the magic power of the God Profound Realm monk is not even imaginable to the Jindan monk, these monks of the God Profound Realm high above, the identity is extremely high, so although Jindan Realm and God Profound Realm are only one big order apart, each of them is difficult to ascend to the sky, so Jindan Realm monk wants to have the same with God Profound Realm monk. Intersection, want to see a Shen Xianjing monk, but it is more difficult than a Shenhai Jingyu monk wants to see Jin Danjing monk. So when it comes to the great monks of God Profound Realm, there are so many Jindan monks present, but only a few people have seen them, and there are a few God Profound Realm monks on Tianxian continent at the moment, but they don't even know it. But what is certain is that during these thousands of years, even if some genius monks kept emerging, it was the golden age of the monastic world, and there were no more than 10 monks of the God Profound Realm in the entire Tianxian continent. At present, there are certainly 10 dissatisfied monks in the entire Profound Heaven continent. However, although most of them haven't seen the monks of the God Profound Realm at all, and it's even less likely to see the scene of the 5 monks of Jindan when they impacted the Profound Realm of the God, many Jindan monks were present, but they also read the classics about the impact of Jindan, the record of God Profound Realm. According to these records, the 5-fold cultivation of the Golden Pill realm reached its peak and impacted the Divine Profound. It was to regenerate the Golden Pill and break the cocoon in general. The Golden Pill would break open and produce aberrations. In other words, shocking Shenxian is like incubating a demon pill. If the demon pill is gone, it will drill out a demon beast. According to the difference between the practice method and Jindan, after Jindan is broken, the form of the Divine Profound Dharma will also be different. Some monks majoring in water system exercises, after Jindan is broken, the condensed phase of the God Profound Dharma may be a water dragon, and some may be a water turtle. Some monks majoring in fire system exercises, after Jindan is broken, the condensed phase of the God Profound Fa, may be a fire unicorn or a fire element Deo. These divine mysterious phases are formed by the change of Jindan and Zhenyuan. The essence of the monk is condensed. It is the advancement of Jindan. It has changed a form and is an entity rather than an illusion. It can be arbitrarily driven like Jindan, and it will be produced more amazing magical powers. The blood ancestors like the corpse sect have been repaired to the late stage of Jindan's 5-fold. The aura and Dankai outside the body have been looming out of the ghost image of the deity, which is the that Jindan will become after breaking the wall. Xian Faxiang look. However, due to the limitations of the practice, spiritual practice and physical body, the blood spirit patriarch was too slow to dare to attack the Divine Profound Realm, but it could not really make Jindan transform into such a Divine Profound Fa phase. According to the records in the ancient books, the monks of Jindan's 5-fold peak, when they impacted the God Profound Realm, when Jindan broke the wall, a large amount of vitality and essence in Jindan will also refeed and nourish the flesh, causing the flesh to suffer again. A large amount of amazing nourishment. At that time, the filth of the monk's body was completely removed, and the skin also became between jade and grass, exuding fragrance, just like the monk's own. It became a plant, the rarest elixir in the world. Now Du Kuny's Zhenyu Enziawei and his body naturally have no substantive changes, but his skin has turned into a very shiny bronze color, and exudes a strange fragrance. This kind of scene alone is similar to the scene of the physical transformation of the Jindan monk when he impacted the God Profound Realm. As Du Kuyi continued to refine, I saw the condensation of the aura outside his body. The milky white gas was also wrapped around the eyeballs, and the entire aura of the eyeballs began to emit thick. The fragrance comes out. It was only a moment's time, and the entire hundreds of squares were filled with this kind of breath close to the fragrance of sandalwood and lotus. This breath gives a very clean and holy feeling. All right. It took about half of the incense stick's time, and I saw Duki's breath condensed. It was obviously that the medicine was completely exhausted, and Duki took a deep breath immediately and smiled again on his face. This thing just simulates the scent of God Xianjing monk, and it doesn't moisturize the flesh very much, nor does it have the coercion of God Xianjing monk. Really, Bliss also felt his eyes closed for a moment, then, after saying this sentence, but yet also sighed, however, the more advanced monsters, the more sensitive they are to the breath. Such a breath should be enough to deter most monsters and avoid them. Congratulations to Du Daiyu. Thanks to Wei Daiyu for this matter, otherwise I just have such a treasure in my hands, and I don't know the purpose at all. Du Zi, who was so happy, nodded to Wei Zhuo again. Now that Du Daiyu has refined Tiantan Chanzu, we should also conduct the next competition. After Du Kuyu thanked Wei Suo once more, he seemed to want to say something to Wei Suo again, but at this time Tian Luo, in the eyes of the real person, there was a look of unpleasantness. He looked at Wei Suo with an expressionless expression and said, I don't know what Wei Daiyu will choose next to compare with me. Okay, let's finish this last game before we talk. Wei Suo smiled slightly, as if he was well intentioned. He had already thought about it in general, and said, just choose the fourth kind that the real person says, delimit the area, no matter what means, as long as the other party is forced out of the defined area, it is considered a win. How does the real person look? What? Most of the monks at the scene hadn't completely recovered their thoughts from Tiantan Chanzu. At the moment, when we heard Wei Suo say, these monks changed a little bit too suddenly, and a feeling of defining the area and pushing the other party out of the designated area is a limitation of this kind of comparison, but in fact, almost two people are fighting each other in the ring. It can be said that this kind of competition is the closest to the two heads-up competition among the 6 competitions. Are you actually going to choose this kind? Tian Luo's real face also appeared a shocking look at this moment, a cold light flashed in his eyes. Why, what's wrong with real people? Wei Suo gave Tian Luo a real look and said indifferently. I naturally have no problem. Tian Luo's face returned to his expressionless expression, but his eyes were completely gloomy. Looking at Wei Suo, he said to the real person of Bliss, since Wei Daiyu chose if you fight with me in this way, let's bother and Bliss real people to draw us a place. Then this square real Bliss also looked at Wei Suo in amazement. After watching it for a moment, he pointed to the square where everyone was. This place is almost enough, with a height of 200 feet. To limit, who is forced out of this square, or more than 200 feet in height, even if you lose, what do you think? Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 479. I naturally have no problem, it's up to Wei Daiyu to say it. Tian Luo's real face gestured his hands blankly. Of course, this square is a great place. It's just a fight. The spells and magic powers are uncontrolled and damaged. You shouldn't blame me for real life. Wei Suo smiled at real life. Laugh. It's just a square, and it doesn't matter if you dismantle it all. Hearing Wei Suo said, Bliss lived with a smile, and said, as for the surrounding buildings, there are so many Dao friends present, I want to resist some scattered power. There shouldn't be any problems. If so many Daoist friends can't stop it, then my Bliss Palace, even if you dismantle it all, then I have nothing to say. That's of course, even if I want to tear down the palace outside, I can't tear it down. Wei Suoha said with a smile, ecstasy. I only heard Tian Luo say, you are also a member of the Xuanhuan League, right? Not bad. Blissful real person's eyes flickered and glanced at Wei Suo. So many Taoist friends are waiting. If you have anything, just say so. Hey, it's nothing, only the last question. Wei Suo smiled. This spell and magic power is difficult to control once it is stimulated. If there is something missing from the real Tian Luo, Xuanhuan League should not so embarrass me. Why so? Don't you think it can cause me any damage? When we heard Wei Zhuo say this, many monks around couldn't help but breathe, and Tian Luo's mouth suddenly showed a cruel smile. Meaning? Tian Luo Jinjin's triple cultivation is that the ordinary Jindan's 1 or 2 monks are completely out of his eyes. Although the look on his face is calm at the moment, Wei Suo said that at this moment, his heart, but it is already very angry. In his heart at this moment, he felt that Wei Suo would dare to despise him so much. It was no different from the majesty that angered him. Why, don't you think I promised to fight against you? Do you want to concede intentionally? But at this moment, Wei Suo, who had always spoken very well, was a face, sneering. Jindan's double monk, more than one person died in my hands. Okay. If there is no dizzy opponent, gambling is meaningless. Tian Luo's real eyes narrowed suddenly, a cold killing intention spread out from him. Why Suo, since you say so, so many Dao friends can prove it. Even if I am in a gambling fight and you are killed, it is my personal matter, and the Xuanhuan League will never find you in trouble for this matter. The spells and magic weapons have no eyes. If you accidentally die in your hands, there will naturally be no complaints, Wei Suo said coldly with no expression. This person really wants to die with Tian Luo, real person. Jindan's first cultivation practice, no matter how powerful, can't beat Jindan's triple cultivation. With the same technique, Jindan's triple cultivation of monks exerts his power, but his power is better than that of Jindan. The monk will show up several times. What control does he have? I heard that he was able to kill the few Jindan monks, but he only relied on extinction vines. He actually wanted to single out the real Tian Luo at the moment. Is he looking for death? The real person of Tian Luo was aggressive and oppressed at first, but he didn't attack. Until now, it seems that it has always been forbearing, but it must be reported. If this person is killed by Tian Luo, it will be good. If it is true and Tian Luo, the magical power to contend is absolutely unprovocable and will not offend in the future. Hearing the dialogue between Tian Luo and Wei Suo, the rest of the Jindan monks flashed their eyes, swept up one after another, and all flew to the periphery of the square. Wei Suo, you have to be careful. Nangang Yuking's eyes stayed on Wei Suo all the time. After hesitating for a moment, he also vacated after saying this sentence. Relax, Wei Suo smiled slightly. Wait for you to come back a little later and save yourself from any danger. Wei Daiyu, I think you should take care of yourself first. On the square with hundreds of square feet, it was empty in a blink of an eye, leaving only Wei Suo and Tian Luojin standing in the center, with a powerful power in the top. Powerful coercion emanated from the real person of Tian Luo. The monks of the Golden Pill Triple, such as Tian Luo Renren, even if they converge all the breadth of their bodies, throw their hands up and have a look, they naturally have an unimaginable power. Boom. 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 While exporting a word, the golden light outside the real person of Tian Luo was inflated 3 times in a row, and the golden armor Kylin formed by his aura instantly expanded 3 times, and turned into a size of more than 10 feet. His body naturally did not change and did not become larger, but with the expansion of his breath and aura, his power was also rising, causing a mental shock, which made the rest of the monks seem to have become his people. Taller. It felt like he was several times taller than Wei Suo at once, making Wei Suo very weak. Your true Yuan Zhao Wei is 2 levels higher than me and is Jindan's triple cultivation, but since it is a fair bet, I don't want to take advantage of you. But Wei Suo's expression is nothing. The change gave him a quiet look at the real person of bliss. Wait, please wait for the real person to take the spell as an order. Let's start to cast spells together. How? Okay. Wei Suo, you young man is really crazy enough. The real person of bliss nodded his head, but the real person of Tian Luo was already somewhat intolerant, and gave out a violent laugh. The 2 Dai were careful. Bliss lived frowning. After saying this, he didn't say much. He reached out a little, and a red light flew from his fingertips into the sky. Laugh. At the moment when Bliss lifted his hand and gave out a red light, a fierce sound of breaking the sky exploded in front of Wei Suo. I saw that at this moment, while Wei Suo inspired an ancient fierce fire, he not only sacrificed the Long River monstrous scroll sacrifice from Huangyazi, but also the Black Ghost Bone King, the Color King Butterfly, the heartworm all sacrificed. For a time, a heavy torrent of waves gathered a number of brilliant colors, and slammed towards Tianluo. You are too arrogant. The supernatural power of Jindan Triple Monk is not something you can imagine as a yellow-haired junior. If you directly use Jindan to cooperate with these magic weapons, maybe I will be afraid. Now, a face-to-face, you will lose me. While Wei Suo stimulated the Changhe monstrous scroll, he also inspired the magic weapon that can glow golden crystals. 2 magic weapons, plus a spell, it is almost the limit, plus the attack from the black ghost bones and other objects. This kind of prestige has made most of the Jindan monks present change their faces, and it is expected that they will be replaced by themselves, which is absolutely unstoppable. However, in the face of such an attack, Tianluo's mouth showed a sneer of disdain. When a scornful voice came out of his mouth, 6 bright yellow lights suddenly appeared behind him, spinning in an instant stirred together, a bright yellow pillar was formed, and a fierce blow towards the front was made. At the same time, countless bright yellow rays of light also rushed out of the mouth opened by Tianluo's real person, forming a golden armored unicorn that was similar to the aura on the head. Puff! The bright yellow giant pillar and the golden armor unicorn strike forward, and the huge waves, the ancient fierce fire, the golden crystal beam, the black beam emitted by the black monk bone, all of Wei Suo's offensives are turned into powder. Although the bright yellow giant pillars and golden armor unicorns were all crushed, but with their own skills and golden power, Tianluojin directly resisted Wei Suo's blow. Laugh. His eyes were just a flash, and in front of the real person of Tianluo, a small blue arrow made of bones appeared, and a series of hurricanes formed around this small blue arrow. At this moment, Wei Suo seemed to feel bad, and 10,000 purple golden Dangxia rays burst out of his eyebrows, forming a huge ancient dragon shape. Let you know what is called stacking method. Just don't need Jindan, is it still too late? In the sneer, Tianluo's real person opened his mouth, and a cyan brilliance spewed on the blue arrow in front of him. The power radiated from the cyan arrow obviously increased several times in an instant. A pop sound exploded, and I saw a cyan streamer formed by the cyan arrow, which instantly turned the purple ancient dragon from Wei Suo. Smash! Not good. But at this moment, the whole mind of the real person of Tianluo was shocked. After the broken ancient Tianlong, there was a white light suspended. This group of white light is a round, goose egg-sized danzu. Numerous light symbols and light patterns flowed on this pill, and there was an eerie terror. As soon as this thing appeared, a yellowish light mask and a golden mask appeared on Wei Suo's body. At the same time, Wei Suo and everything outside his body were all Wei Wei's. The aura mask was wrapped inside and flew back towards the rear. Boom! The white Dan beads of the size of a goose egg exploded violently. In an instant, countless light patterns and violent vitality expanded indefinitely. Extinct Jindan. The vast majority of Jindan monks present at the site were all trembling, all of them immediately radiated brilliance and blocked themselves in front. Even Bliss Liv changed his face immediately, a circle of red light radiated from him. Formed a series of barriers, protecting all the palaces behind him. The blaze of explosion instantly filled the entire square with hundreds of square feet. Slap! 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 I saw that the spiritual light mask outside Wei Suo was also broken, but at the time of each spiritual light breaking, there was always a new brilliance in front of him, and on the edge of the square, Wei Suo was like a mainstay. Stop! The extinct Jindan, however, exploded not far from the real person of Tianluo, so the natural person of Tianluo is naturally equivalent to completely blocking most of the power of this extinct Jindan. What? The real figure of Tianluo was completely submerged in the flames produced by the explosion, and there was only a fierce scream, followed by an earth-shattering crackling sound. G Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 480. Chapter 480 is just a matter of doing it, Seeking a red ticket. Nangongyuking's close-fitting blouse originally covered only the skin on the chest. After entering the water, it was completely immersed in the wet, and it was attached to the body. The great treasure piece of the white treasure, but the white skin was looming. Her figure, which is more tall than Jia, is almost as high as Wei Suo. Now only this thin bodysuit is even more sleek and sleek. Instinctively, after entering the water, Nangongyuking made a wish to push Wei Suo away, but then she did not resist, but raised her head slightly, her eyes closed slightly, her hand extended. However, it was later to gather together, and after I got into the water, I spread the blue silk myself. Concave, 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 concave. Concave, 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 concave. Concave, 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 concave. Concave, 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 concave. The concave, 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 concave. Concave, 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 concave. Concave, 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 concave. Concave, 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 concave. Concave, 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 new concave, 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 concave. Concave, 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 concave. Concave, 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 concave. Concave, 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 concave. Concave, 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 concave. Concave, 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 concave. Concave, 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 concave. Concave, 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 concave. Concave, 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 concave. Concave, 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 concave. Among the shackles of a surging sound, Nangongyuking was embraced by Wei Suo, and she hadn't had time to send out any surging sound. Her lips were blocked by Wei Suo, a group full of masculine. The breath of the breath, from the mouth like a snake, usually came in. Concave, 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 concave. Concave, 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 concave. Concave, 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 concave. Concave, 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 concave. The concave, 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 concave. Concave, 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 concave. Concave, 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 concave. concave 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 new concave 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 concave. However, Weisuo is already long season, and he and Nangongyuking are reunited after several years, and some lust is difficult, and the tongue is like a snake-like teasing, which makes Nangongyuking breathless. Come, bring a crying sound, with both hands on the white skin of Nangongyuking's snow-white butt, making Nangongyuking more and more hot. Concave 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 the concave 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 new concave 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 concave. Where am I tormenting you? Weisuo was a little laughter and bowed his head. concave 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 The concave 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 new concave 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 concave. At this time, Wei Suo was completely pressed up. Concave 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 The concave 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 new concave 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 concave. A hot origin she, really invaded her naked body, cultivator and mortal, is also the real fish water intercourse, is the real husband, Deo companion. At the moment, she really became a Weisuo's woman and became Weisuo's Deo companion. Concave 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 The concave 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 new concave 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 Weisuo, have you swallowed aphrodisiac? Concave 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 The concave 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 new concave 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 concave. It has been swallowed. Wei Suo returned the sentence, divine consciousness under the slightly subconscious inner vision, is Yang Yuan and Non Yuan Yuking's Yin Yuan, but it seems to be the water percent intercourse melting, natural flow, fusion, transformation. Concave 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 the concave 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 new concave 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 concave. This time, it was Wei Suo's trembled all over. Concave 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 the concave 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 new concave 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 concave. Each of these cool and unique spiritual chi is integrated into Wei Suo's true Yuan, and Wei Suo feels a slight shock from his golden core. Concave 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 the concave 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 new concave 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 concave. It is reasonable to say that the damage of the golden core can only be repaired if it is continually tempered by cultivation and true UN. Concave 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 the concave 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 new concave 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 concave. At Cloud Spirit Continent, when Wei Suo and Li Yazan chatted with Xuanhuan old ancestor, they heard that the story of Yin Liwa's naked body is a rare curling tripod. This curling trip means the spiritual qi and yin yuan of the female cultivator, which eliminates the fire attribute impurities of many of the spiritual herb residues in the cultivator naked body. It is possible to remove some of the unfavorable forces in the naked body. For the cultivator, it is naturally a great treasure. Concave 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 the concave 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 new concave 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 concave. Directly moisturizing the golden core is like getting the moisturization of a spicy herb that can rejuvenate the golden core. Concave 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 The concave 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 new concave 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 The more precious the golden core, the more powerful it is. Concave 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 the concave 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 new concave 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 Nangongyuking was originally the great treasure of Wei Suo's heart. Wei Suo's really made a fortune, after encountering green-robed old man and Nangongyuking. Without Nangongyuking, Wei Suo might be the first to encounter the cultivator in that cave and kill him directly. If it wasn't for Nangongyuking to go to the land under Blue Wind Mound, Wei Suo couldn't get the good secret place of great treasure and get mind-devouring bug. Now Nangongyuking itself is even more great treasure. Concave 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 the concave 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 new concave 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 concave. At the moment, I thought of the great treasure of Nangongyuking, and then I thought that after encountering Nangongyuking, this hole became my own blessing. When I thought of the word hole, Weisuo is now lust, underneath. Yang Yuan's entry and exit is even more rampant. Concave 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 the concave 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 new concave 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 concave. If you love me, then what do you do? Concave 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 the concave 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 new concave 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 ah, Weisuo, I can't eat it. Angong looking suddenly felt like a whirl of dizziness, she was really a bit too much at the moment. Concave 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 the concave 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 new concave 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 concave. Then, with culture going, not only does the dual vintage shapeshift great art get a good secret place, but it hurts Nangong Yooking's naked body. I heard that Nangong Yooking said that some fans were confused, and Weisuo, who kept asking for the general, suddenly woke up and stopped the dual grape movement, but it was still reluctant and Nangong Yooking was lingering for a while before letting Nangong Yooking escape from his arms and put on the shapeshift great art. Eisuo, you put on the shapeshift great art suit and wait for me, /p. After the sharp shift of shapeshift great art, the face of the blushing Nangong Yooking, after saying this to Weisuo, directly swept out the quiet room, leaving Weisuo a little confused. The hairpin. This, but after a while, let Wei Suo lick the great treasure again. Nangang Yuking took Jiya's hand and the two plunged into the quiet room. Jiya, his aphrodisiac, is not completely refining. Jiya is also a portrait that has not yet understood anything, but after being moved into this quiet room by Nangang Yuking, it was pushed by Yungang Yuking into Wei Suo's arms. I can't eat it anymore. The same time, Nangang Yuking said this in her ear. Yuking elder sister, Jiya finally reacted to it. Her face was always thin, and she suddenly looked like she was blushing. She shook her head and wanted to run away like a rabbit. If you call me elder sister, you have to listen to me. However, Nangang Yuking came out of the quiet room directly, and brought the door to death. You also know that his trip is very dangerous. Refining Xuanjiangzi should also help him a lot. Hearing her words, Jiya stopped at the door of the secret place, but her naked body, but shivered because of shame, did not dare to look at Wei Suo. At this time, Nangang Yuking's surging sound was passed from outside and asked Wei Suo. Of course Wei Suo looked at himself as an old wife, but he was still a shy and intimate wife, and his heart was once again melted. Putting his hands on the front, he held Jiya in his arms from behind. If you love her, what should you do? Nangang Yuking's chuckling surging sound also came in, but the surging sound sounded far away, and it was obvious that she went to adjust the culture. If you love her, don't do it, just do it, Wei Suo answered Nangang Yuking. As soon as I heard the conversation between Wei Suo and Nangang Yuking, Jiya's head was awkward, and the naked body was completely soft in Wei Suo's arms. To Red Dot, G. Dedication. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 481. Chapter 481 Powerful Energy Changes. Among the pure water masses, Jiya's incomparable body naked body and Wei Suo's body naked body entangled with a pink brilliance. Vertex Novels, Handwriting Novels. Pa. 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 At the beginning, the water spirit Yuan Qi in the water group was very cohesive. At the time of Jiya and Wei Suo dual cultivation, there were also two koi-like surging sounds in the water. But as black water lotus continues to absorb water spirit Yuan Qi in the water mass slowly becomes thinner, and the condensed water begins to turn into a thin mist, leaving only the entire quiet room. The two men snorted breathing surging sound. Wei Suo, I don't know how long it took. Yin Yuan in Jiya naked body is also consumed almost, and it is so soft that it has issued a surging sound and weeping surging sound. Wei Suo is of course the pity of the jealousy that stopped the flow of true Yuan, but at the same time it was a shock of the naked body, and issued a surging sound. After two consecutive extremes of dual cultivation, the potency of the aphrodisiac in his naked body has been transformed into 788, and mystic fiend Yin Qi in his naked body is very turbulent, seemingly more than 100. The second dual cultivation got a lot of good secret places. Wei Suo, what's the matter? Hearing Wei Suo's a surging sound, Jiya thought that Wei Suo was a scorpion of culture, and suddenly he was naked and looked at Wei Suo very worried. Nothing, just feel that this culture manifestation has a lot of mystic fiend Yin Qi. At this time Wei Suo and Jiya also tightly fit together, body without inch wisp, Jiya body a tight naked, a pair of jade rabbit on the chest is squeezed Wei Suo's body, forming a blood-sucking shape, said this sentence, Wei Suo, and is very unbearable, one hand hug Jiya, hanging head deep kiss Jiya almost can't breath, at the same time, Wei Suo another hands a wave, a sheer mystic fiend Yin Qi gushing out. Instantly formed a green-black ghost claw shape. Jiya, look. The rest of the eyes swept to mystic fiend ghost claw, holding Jiya's Wei Suo, but couldn't help but send out a surging sound. He now this mystic fiend ghost claw, not only through naked body condensation, as the real crystal, and on the surface, is the bulge of a round drum, as if the thick scales of the general, there is a faint rune flow, a look is very frightening appearance, compared with the previous, light in the appearance, it is obvious that there is a very great treasure changes. So smart. Jia to see such a scene, the mind of the first reaction, it is natural to feel the efficacy of the aphrodisiac is very amazing, simply equivalent to a earth-level top-rank medicine pill, but immediately thought of this aphrodisiac medicine again good, is also and there and Nangong Yuking dual cultivation, in order to convert so many mystic fiend yin qi, at the thought of this, Jia is suddenly ashamed of some raised his head. Bad, we are like this now, you will let me see your changes to mystic fiend ghost claw, let me put on my clothes and say. Jia is very shy and out of the surging sound. The old husband is old wife, still afraid of what, and then know who will come in. As soon as I saw Jiya's appearance, Wei Suo couldn't stand it anymore, and there was some stupid burning with the desire to move. Do they can't eat it anymore? Jiya begged for it. Well, then call me a surging sound. Good husband, I will let you go. Wei Suo he smile. Good husband. Obediently, I really can't stand it. Wei Suo stunned and couldn't help but bury his head. After a long kiss, Jiya was in a hurry to let Jiya escape his claw and put on his clothes. Pa is a surging sound, but Wei Suo put on his clothes and tried his powerful energy of mystic fiend ghost claw, which inspired a spirit rank high-grade spirit light. Shapeshift great art great treasure. And the spirit light from the spirit light class shapeshift great art great treasure was just scratched and it was directly broken, just as easy to scratch a paper lantern. Good guy. Wei Suo looked at the jealous and weak Jiya, and his face suddenly showed a pleasant look. My previous powerful energy of mystic fiend ghost claw is only a little higher than the shapeshift great art great treasure powerful energy of Dao rank. Now my mystic fiend ghost claw's powerful energy seems to be no less than Dao rank. Middle grades shapeshift great art great treasure, it seems that the effect of this aphrodisiac is indeed comparable to an earth-level top-rank medicine pill. Jiya, have you seen any changes to your cold core? And hearing Wei Suo, Jiya was embarrassed to talk more, nodded, lightly opened his lips, a little blue splendid light, and sacrificed, and the temperature in the entire quiet room plummeted. She is yin yuan's depleted, equivalent to naked body, and using true yuan is nothing to hinder. I saw Jiya's chilly cold core surface, and there was a scale-like pattern. It was a bit like the golden core's rune, but the texture is not so obvious, it looks obviously better than Wei Suo's mystic fiend. Ghost claw powerful energy is a bit worse. Jiya and Wei Suo dual cultivation, plus Jiya when the cold core of the time less, mystic fiend yin qi less loss, by and by, her cold core powerful energy y to Wei Suo, but now her cold core powerful energy is not as good as Wei Suo's mystic fiend and ghost, apparently because Claw Wei and Suo Nangong Ng dual cultivation, Nangong Yuking secret place sun body yin yuan strong, plus the medicine of aphrodisiac, Wei Suo is very great treasure good secret place. Wei Suo, your black water lotus is also absorbing these water spirit yuan qi. You are going to Qing Cheng ruins and going deep into the heavens dome wasteland. Be careful, you still have to hurry and then honor this black water lotus. I went back to the retreat after seeing that Wei Suo had seen his cold core. The blushing Jiya looked at black water lotus in front of him and said to Wei Suo soft surging sound. Jiya was born with a frosty temperament. The people who looked at her appearance, including the cultivator that Spirit Peak City knew before, certainly wouldn't have thought that she was so delicate in front of Wei Suo's. At this time, the water spirit Yuan Qi, which was refining in the muddy bamboo, has indeed been absorbed by black water lotus. All the damaged secret places on the whole black water refining have all been good, and the 4 lotus petals look hydrated and thick, as if they were dripping water, and the original giant treasure's water mass is now only a thin, transparent water mist. Reassured, I will be more careful, I will definitely come back. Great treasure can't see the situation is not good, Don't want anything secret place to turn around and run looking at Jia, because he was worried about his safety, he was afraid of delaying his time, and he was going to leave. Wei Suo took Jiya's hand. This time, it's inevitable that it will be so long on the 20th time is missing, or I will delay you for a while, you will wait for me to finish this black water lotus and then go to the retreat. What time is it? Wei Suo said that, Jiya can't feel his lust. And for Wei Suo, she has already entrusted herself to him, how can she not be willing to delete this time? Looking at Wei Suo deeply, Jiya didn't say anything, just nodded. Pu. I saw Wei Suo looking at Jiya. After a smile, one hand was still with her, and the other hand reached out. A true yuan was rolled up with a purple-red reef. With the package of true yuan, this purple-red reef-like thing also produced a pure water spirit yuan qi. A stream of pure water spirit yuan qi keeps breaking into black water lotus. Great treasure. After less than half an hour, all the remaining materials of water spirit yuan qi were also refining by Wei Suo and absorbed by black water lotus. Black water lotus's great treasure hasn't changed much, but the surface of the water spirit qi is much stronger than before, and it turns out to be a transparent circle. Wei Suo, the power of black water lotus, seems to be far more than Dao rank middle grade. Jiya, who is still in the same position as Wei Suo, looked at this black water lotus and couldn't help but turn his head and look at Wei Suo and said something like this. In the past, Wei Suo's black water lotus was the shapeshift great art great treasure powerful energy of Dao rank, but at the moment, from the perspective of water spirit qi, it seems to have exceeded the shapeshift great art great treasure of Dao rank middle grade. Pu. Wei Suo's eyes flashed, but he didn't speak first, but it was blue-black magnificent light flashes, which directly turned out mystic fiend ghost claw, and pressed it at the moment of black water lotus. I saw the entire black water lotus trembled, and the surface seemed to oscillate with a layer of transparent water, but there was no damage on black water lotus. The old man said that the water spirit yuan qi of Shui Shuazu is indeed not lost to black water lotus itself. Now the power of black water lotus is indeed more than Dao rank middle grade, but compared to Dao rank high grade, it's worse. Wei Suo immediately looked at Jiya and nodded. Whether it's mystic fiend ghost claw or black water lotus, the power of energy is already slightly insufficient for you. It's mainly for the future. If you go out this time, be careful. What are you going to do next? Next, I am going to do my best to make the heavenly dragon star body tempering technique. This trip to the extreme pleasure palace, heaven-catching reverend has been killed by me if it is not physically sturdy. Although it is impossible to refine mortal body cultivation in the short time, he is as tyrannical as him, but the vitality of the flesh is tyrannical. Even if something happens at that time, I am seriously damaged. With true demon body sealing technique, I am alive. The chance will also be great treasure. After trying the powerful energy of the finished black water lotus, Jiya and Wei Suo said something again. Jiya made up his mind and separated from Wei Suo to get out of this quiet room. This is really unexpected. After Jiya left, I saw Wei Suo but didn't know what I thought of. On the face, I looked like a smile and laughed, and shook my head. After that, Wei Suo floated up in the naked body, and both hands went forward to make a dragon shape, and began to fully cultivate the heavenly dragon star body tempering technique. The entire quiet room was quickly filled with a group of purple brilliance, and a surging sound was heard from time to time. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 482. Bian Washing Pills. 10 Bian Flame Washing Essence Pills or a Dao level inferior magic weapon in exchange for a broken crystal. Bai Hehan's words were not only attracted to Wei Suo's attention, but the rest of the Jindan monks were also taken aback. Bian Washing Essence Pill is a unique medicine of the Bishui Palace in the northern part of the Tianqian continent. Naturally, the magic weapon of the inferior Daoist rank, it goes without saying. The sky-breaking magic crystal is a unique spar required for the layout of the teleportation circle. Now on the entire Tianqian continent, except for a few ancient teleportation circles left by the ancients, all teleportation circles are arranged. There is this kind of spar, and so far, this kind of spar has not found other uses, but can be used on the teleportation circle. Although the number of such unique spar is also rare, but it is used to transport the magic circle, the power of a single one will slowly deplete for decades, so the value of this spar on the Tianqian continent is absolutely it is not worth 10 Bian washing pills or a Taoist inferior magic weapon. Baihu, a real person, although the value of the broken sky crystal is not low, but it usually has no such value. After a slight silence, there was a grey-faced elderly monk who looked very stable and said, "You are now exchanging void crystals with such value. Is there any new mystery of this kind of crystal?" At the same time as the old man in grey, no other monk spoke. None of these Jindan monks present is a fool. If there is any new mystery found in the crystal-breaking crystal, these Jindan monks will certainly not exchange the crystal-breaking crystal. After all, pith-washing pills is useful for lower-level monks, and Dao-level inferior magic weapons are also somewhat unattractive for Jindan monks. Now the broken sky crystal is not worth this value here, but for some of our northern ancestral continents, it is already more than this value. Baihu real person seems to be about 40 years of age, because his face is slender, and the aura outside him reflects his face green, and at the moment he speaks, obviously his face is extremely unpleasant, and the sound of his speech is measured obscurely, as if the monks present owe him what a baby. Seeing the look of Baihu real man, Bliss real man's brow was slightly wrinkled, and said indifferently, "Baihu real man, does anyone here make you fail?" "I'm sorry, you Dao friends, I don't have any opinions about you." After hearing the words of Bliss real man, Baihu real man responded in general, and some apologized to the old grey robe, and Bliss real man clenched a fist. "Oh. Speaking of this broken crystal, are there any hidden feelings?" Bliss real man gave Baihu real man a very meaningful look. "You Dao friends will understand when you look at it." Baihu smiled bitterly. The green light on her body seemed to urge Xuanhuan with all her strength. And with the green light on his body, all the golden light also appeared outside him. These mixed golden lights are actually condensed into a chain shape, and there are countless tiny light symbols flowing in them. Under the count, there are 12 mixed golden chain-like huaguangs with such thick and thin thumbs, which pass through and out of the body of Baihu reality, and are incompatible with the physical body, real element, and spiritual light of Baihu reality. At first glance it is some kind of prohibition. Seeing this kind of scene at a glance, Wei Suo suddenly took a breath. This mixed gold-chained huaguang is obviously not a magic weapon, but a condensed spell, but the power in each mixed golden huaguang is extremely terrifying, and the power is not weakened at all. From this point of view, how much magical power should this monk planted in Baihu Lai be? Seeing this scene, even the blissful real person who had been a little lazy changed his complexion, looking at Baihu with a solemn face, and said humanely, "Did you get into the Northern Ming sect?" Wei Suo's brow jumped immediately, and he couldn't help but glance at Nangong looking beside him. This Northern Ming zone is famous in Tianqian continent. It is the first gate in the northern part of Tianqian continent. It is the same top gate school as Xianfeng Gate. It is one of the 10 major gates in Tianqian continent. In many rumors, the strength of Baiming zone even exceeds that of Xianfeng Gate. It doesn't matter if you get into Baiming zone. Even if you give me the courage, I dare not be an enemy of Baiming zone. This is a long story, let me elaborate on it slowly, and it really matters. Related to each of our monks, I ran a trip to clarify the matter, it should be, but it was forced by people. I naturally feel very uncomfortable. Baihu lived in a bitter smile, stopped the real element in the body flowing violently, the mixed gold chain-like glory on his body also retracted and disappeared in his body. It's a matter of importance. It's about every monk. Hearing Baihu said this, the many Jindan monks present were even more puzzled, and they looked away with big eyes. And Bliss lived in a flash of surprise in his eyes, nodded calmly, "Why, anyway, what is the ins and outs of this broken crystal?" You slowly say yes. This is the farthest straight line from the northern part of the Tianqian continent. One is located at the northernmost end of the Tianqian continent, and the other is located at the southernmost end of the Tianqian continent. I don't know how many miles apart. So now you deists still don't know. Just a few days ago, there was another rift above the sky dome outside Tianyang City. Baihu nodded his head, glanced at the monk present, and said, "What? There is another rift in the sky dome outside Tianyang City." Baihu lived a word, and most of the Jindan monks present on the face had a shocked look on their faces. Yes, with the knowledge of all the Taoists, most of you should know that a gap was split in the sky dome outside Tianyang City 30 years ago. When there was no precaution at that time, the tide of beasts struck. When the monks in the cities kept on going, the entire Tianyang City was almost destroyed by half. Tens of thousands of monks were lost, and many amazing high-level monks with amazing magical powers were also lost. Qishazong joined forces to block and set a lot of prohibitions. But from time to time, there are still a lot of high-level monsters attacking. Baihu's real eyes flashed and said slightly coldly, "But just a few days ago, the distance at that time, there was a big gap in a sky dome that was less than 2,000 miles apart. Although the number of monsters influxed this time was not as many as last time, among the monsters influxed this time, there are several 8-level high-level monsters such as carrion star python. So even this battle was even alarmed by several masters such as Yunfan Reality and Jindan 5 Heavy. But in this battle, it also fell. With more than 2,000 monks, even the real silkworm Qing Lingzi of Tianyang City fell into the hands of a long deer." "What? Is this news true?" There was an unusually shocked look on the face of Elysium. The original lazy reclining body also sat up straight. "Since such a big accident has happened, how come until this time, we didn't hear this news? Let the real Bliss please calm down. In addition to the truthfulness of the news, I have even more amazing news." Baihu Real took a deep breath and looked at real Bliss and the Jindan monk present. Coincidentally, on the same day, a crack appeared in the sky dome outside Tianyang City. After 2 hours of war, a crack appeared in the sky dome outside the cold city. The cold city was destroyed by half and lost. More than 5,000 monks, a total of 3 Jindan monks involved in this battle fell. With a bang, the entire hall was suddenly in an uproar, and almost all the monks' faces changed drastically. Although I did not participate in the Battle of Yuhan City, but I have a friend, Yinshan Sanren, who also participated in that battle. Baihu Reality added another sentence. Within 1 day, there were 2 cracks in the sky dome, which has never happened before. Bliss Live took a deep breath and said solemnly. Including these 2, in the 10 years, the light in the northern part of the Tianqian continent has already split the 6th hole. Baihu Reality said, looking at Bliss Reality. "Did you say this heavenly sky?" A female Shiu said in a loss of voice. It was Qingping who was the pair of Jindan Dao companions. When speaking of the word heaven, her voice came to a halt. I didn't go on with it, but every Jindan monk present knew what she meant. Could it be that this has covered the sky dome that Tianqian continent has not known for thousands of years? Weneng will not be able to support it? Moreover, every Jindan monk present knew that the entire sky do not need to collapse completely. As long as there were tens of thousands of openings within tens of thousands of miles, it is very likely that the entire monastic world will usher in a huge catastrophe. After all, the number of monsters outside the sky do not know how many times it exceeds the monk. And many of the monsters seem to be very sensitive to the rift in the sky. Basically, every rift will trigger a large-scale beast tide. This matter is indeed a matter of concern to each of our monks. After a moment of euphoria, Bliss lived and looked at Baihu realistically. Then the gap in the sky was related to the prohibition on you and the broken crystal? The 2 mouths broke apart in 1 day, but the news didn't reach us. What is the reason? You deists must also be very clear. Yuhan City and Tianyang City are located in the northernmost part, and there are 8 monk cities in the middle, and after the gap between the sky domes outside the 2 cities is within 1 day. Not to mention the 8 cities around these 2 cities, even the surroundings, adding up to a total of 23 monk cities, all the teleportation circle, all destroyed by who real person took a deep breath, slowly said. G. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 483. 23 Monk City, all teleportation circle, all destroyed. As soon as this remark came out, let alone the monk and Wei Suo both had incredible expressions on their faces. Even the old man in green robe couldn't help crying out in Wei Suo's ear. It should be known that although according to the habit, the area of the northern part of the Tianqian continent divided by the monks of the Tianqian continent is much larger than the area of the southern part of the Tianqian continent, and the number of monk cities in the northern part of the Tianqian continent is also much larger than that of the southern and western parts of the Tianqian continent. However, the number of these 23 cities is really amazing, and it is equivalent to more than half of the monk cities on the Tianqian continent. If there is no teleportation circle in a city, the monks' exchange is very difficult. It takes a long time to be equivalent to a pool of standing water. Moreover, most of the city of monks are monks below Zhou Tianjing, many of which are not evenly and fey escape magic weapons. Even the flying escape technique is not necessarily available. If there is no teleportation circle, like the previous Wei Suo Shenhai realm practice, the scope of activities is basically only within 2,000 miles of the Lingyu city. If you want to go beyond the range of 2,000 miles outside the city, you have to stay overnight in the wilderness. For all low-level monks, it is a matter of gambling. Because there are monsters in the wild in the northern part of Tianqian continent, there should be more everywhere in Tianqian continent. The teleportation circle of so many cities are all destroyed. What is the reason? Bliss Live thinks of some connections, and looks at Baihu lively with a very solemn face. Is it because of the broken space arranged in the teleportation circle? The French crystal is damaged. Yes, the reason why these teleportation arrays have failed is all because the broken crystals arranged in it are all damaged. Baihu nodded his head and shook his hand, but 20 or 30 thin brilliances were scattered out. This is the one that damages the void crystal. This is. The Jindan monks present all stared at each other, and saw the dozen brilliances scattered in front of the crowd by the Baihu people, all of which were transparent crystal fine the size of sparrow eggs. But inside these transparent crystal balls, there is a black worm like an ant. Crack! 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 3 times. Most of the monks were in doubt, but they saw that Bliss Live and Wei Suo, and Li Ruohe, the master of the Spirit Beast Palace, all reached out a little, and directly the transparent crystal layer wrapped around the wormwood was shattered, and the black wormwood inside was photographed with Xuanhuan. Seeing such a scene, the other Jindan monks reacted immediately. The black wormwood inside was already a corpse, and the transparent crystal layer on the outside was only wrapped up to save the corpse of this wormwood. Pay-pay-pup sounded continuously, and the rest of the monks now smashed the crystal layer on the outside of these worms, and wrapped the black worms in the eyes with real yuan. Hiss! A puff of cold air was emitted immediately. I saw that the head of the black worm chestnut occupies most of the body, which is the shape of a pair of pliers. The body part is almost the same as the ant. There are no eyes, tentacles, etc. on the body, and the whole body is even better than the fine gold. In a hard look, several Jindan monks tried to squeeze with the real yuan, and they couldn't hold it at all. And the most weird thing is that this kind of black insect is obviously a monster of the same grade, but its body is not even showing a trace of breath. If you close your eyes and sweep with your consciousness, you can't feel it at all, like a ball of air, which is why Wei Suo and others can't use the consciousness to detect. You need to directly break open the crystal layer that wraps outside, and put this black insect. The body of the corpse was in front of his eyes, and he looked at the reason with his eyes. Yep. At this moment, there was a soft click, but it also attracted the attention of all Jindan monks in the hall. I saw Jianmi's star eyes, very handsome, and the spirit of his body formed a very slender silver knife in the hands of the palace master of the beast palace with 4 wings of tiger-shaped wild beasts behind him. At the moment, Li Ruohe, who had taken out the silver knife, stroked the left side of the head of this black worm like an ant. It seemed that there was no crack in the black worms, but he cut a crack along this place and pried it apart. Hiss! There was another sound of air conditioning. Li Ruohe closed the knife and reached down to lightly touch a blue-yellow element, wrapped in a black sesame size from the cut head. Xiao Dan with yellow came out. The demon spirit on this little Dan is very strong, and it is a demon. In such a small insect corpus, there is actually the presence of Yaodan, and although the Yaodan is small, the Jindan monks present felt that the quality of the Yaodan is not low. 5-level low-level monster, there should be no record of this thing in our Tianqian continent's classics. Li Ruohe groaned for a moment, and said this slowly. Even the several elders of the northern Ming zone class did not recognize this kind of thing. Master Li Gong can be said to be the most authoritative person on the monster and beast on the Tianqian continent. It is indeed an unnamed monster that has never appeared. Bai Hu nodded his head, not nonsense, and said directly, this kind of monster can't be found with God's consciousness, and it does not actively attack the monk, just devours the void. The Fahing seems to regard the broken sky as its food, so it was only after the teleportation circles of many cities failed that they were caused by the destruction of the broken sky by the monster. This kind of insect was actually it will still quietly follow the monk's teleportation and spread out before it begins to destroy the broken magic crystal. If it is not found, it may be far more than 2 or 30 city teleportation arrays damaged. Now I don't know if there are any more insects that have escaped. Since there are many Taoists among the sects, I want to remind Zongmen to take some precautions. It's better to be outside the teleportation circle and add more points. Prevention. After a pause, Bai Hu lively swept the monk present, and added another sentence. The communication between the more than 20 monk cities is paralyzed, which is equivalent to being temporarily isolated into an isolated island. The news naturally came out slowly. No wonder we have not heard of the changes in the northern cities of the Tianqian continent until this time. His eyes narrowed slightly. Bai Hu, a real person, what's going on with the prohibition on you? The prohibition on me can be said to be a catastrophe. Bai Hu lively smiled bitterly. The teleportation circle is damaged, and the gates of those cities are naturally trying to find a way to repair it, and send some news out to read * come and go. Originally, this matter had nothing to do with me. After all Taoists also knew that it was just a free cloud like a wild crane. But that day I happened to be in a place in the middle of the Tianqian continent and saw it escape. The light flew over me with great force, and I just felt that the monk who escaped from the light was not high, so when I was unhappy, I naturally stopped it and prepared to give him some color to see. But I didn't expect this person to be one of the elders of the northern Ming sect, Jinjin's for repair practice, but there was also a hidden breath in his body. I didn't recognize this person. Anyway, the language was inconsistent. I just started with this person. How amazing the magical power of the northern Ming sect is. I am naturally not an adversary under the face of 1 or 2, and he is easily controlled by him. After holding me, this person is haha. He smiled and said that it would make him less rushed. It turned out that after experiencing the accident that the sky dome split 2 cracks a day, Beiming Zone was also very crisis-stricken, and sent many high-level monks to spread the news and go around. Acquired the broken sky crystal, and also invited high-level monks to go to the northern part of the Tianqian continent for large-scale removal of some monsters in the northern part of the Tianqian continent, so as to at least temporarily reduce some monsters outside the sky. The density of the beasts, even if the sky dome breaks many mouths at the same time, the scale of the beast tide when the monster beasts flow in will be relatively small. I happened to be out of luck, fighting for the wind, and the result was that I encountered a ruthless man like Beiming Zone. Character: So, this person put a ban on you, and then entrusted him with all the things he has to do, Bliss Real Man said, looking at the bitter smile and the extremely depressed Baihu Real Man. Yes, this kind of prohibition is extremely difficult for others to unravel. This person not only ordered me to spread the news among the Jindan monks, but also required me to collect at least 3 pieces of broken crystals for him. Otherwise, he will not help me to unblock this kind of prohibition. This kind of prohibition will not be removed in one day, it is one day that cannot be cultivated, and the cultivation is stagnant by whose side. Fortunately, this person gave me some Bayan washing pills and an amulet are not too excessive. Hearing the fact that Baihu lived here, the ins and outs of this story can be said to be completely understood, but the fact that the of the Sky Dome has caused such a great impact on the northern cities of the Tianqian continent, this kind of news is to let all the people present. The monk's heart felt a little heavy. This is a crystal of breaking the sky, you can give me 10 Bayan washing pills. Between many monks pondering, Li Ruohe, the master of the spirit beast palace, stretched out his hand a little. One the prismatic pale yellow spar flew directly in front of Baihu. Thank you, Li Gongju. Baihu lived to his immediate delight, took out a sapphire pill bottle, and ordered it to Li Ruohe. Since such changes in the northern cities, let's first exchange this broken crystal for Baihu reality. Bayan washing the pill and the Taoist lower grade magic weapon, the Taoist friends are free. Another piece of almost the same broken sky fajing flew out of the air, suspended in front of Baihu real person, took out this piece of broken fajing, but Lu Chi beside Wei Suo. This piece of magic crystal can be regarded as my Lingyun Jianmen's near meager power for the northern Daoist friends. Another piece of broken magic crystal flew to the front of the Baihu real person, and the magic crystal was taken out by that name. Aura forms Baiun Guanris out of phase Lingyun Jianmen Tianji unreal person. In an instant, the 3 pieces of empty crystals were full. These Jindan monks, the richness of things on their bodies, is indeed not comparable to that of ordinary monks. Although the monks in the northern part of the Tianqian continent are usually irrelevant to these monks, in case the Sky Dome breaks up, the monks in the northern part of the Tianqian continent can be regarded as a shield in front, so these monks do not care at this moment. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 484. Chapter 484 Third Rip. Don't fight, or it will be slower. In a city that looks like the size of the Spirit Peak City, a collection of shapeshift great art has at least a backlog of thousands of cultivators, which looks extremely confusing. At least 20 cultivators wearing red shapeshift great art clothing, guarding this transmission of the shapeshift great art array, are maintaining order. The city is surrounded by endless semi-sanding yellow earth wilderness, and the vegetation is very rare. At present, in addition to this transmission of the shapeshift great art array on the east side of the city, the entire city is surrounded by chaos. Escape light emerges from the gate of the city from time to time and rushes toward the west side of the city. It is obvious that the city is surrounded by the lack of rain all the year round, and the great treasure brought by the escape light from this road is inspired by the wind treasure. The secret place is the flying sand and the yellow earth flying scene. More than 20 of the red-shifted shapeshift great art robed cultivators, which are sent to transmit the shapeshift great art array, are headed by a squad of old-fashioned faces, the cultivation base of the Thought Division Realm 5th layer, which is very majestic. Seeing the lust-shaped turmoil around this week, the same person wearing the red shapeshift great art clothing, the eyes of the old-fashioned face flash, but a white crystal column. I saw that this white crystal column has a high height, and it is as thick as a human leg. There are 4 heads of rune on it. Thought Division Realm 3rd layer above cultivation base first. As long as you are on my own crystal column, the cultivation base is above the Thought Division Realm 3rd layer, you can immediately enter the shapeshift great art array. After the white crystal column was sacrificed, the majestic old man immediately issued a surging sound, sternly shouted. Why is the cultivation base above the thought division realm third layer go ahead? Why should we give it to others first? When the old man said this, there were many cultivators around the clock. The situation is critical at the moment. The higher the cultivation base, the more cultivator that used to be more useful in the past. The time of this kind of animal tide is not a moment. It is still possible to kill the monster beast in the evening. It is safer for the lower cultivator of the cultivation base. At this time, it is a special lust situation, which is related to countless fellow deist lives. If anyone is confused or chaotic, it is an enemy with our 4 elephants. Even if you can't kill you today, he will be chasing after you all over the 4 elephants. However, the old man with a majestic appearance is immediately mad at the body, and his tone is extremely cold, and he even said these 3 sentences. These 3 sentences and one exit, filled with the eyes of killing intent, the cultivators around them, suddenly quieted down. There are many cultivators in the moment. There is nothing nonsense on the white crystal column that the old man has sacrificed. They have pointed out a true UN into the white crystal column. And each true UN penetrates into the white crystal column, and the white crystal column will immediately reveal a dozen light clusters of light and dark. What? Heaven's dome outside Yellow Path City has a crack. At this time, another one in the city, outside the shapeshift great art array, 4 men and 1 woman, a total of 5 cultivators, watching this chaotic city, are also shocked. Look. These 5 cultivators are the ones of Wei Suo and Li Ruohe. Among the 5, in addition to the yellow-robed bald shapeshift great art Hua Reverend fame slightly weaker, Wei Suo himself, Li Ruohe and Qi Longshan, Qingping couple, now in this heavenly pra found continent southern fame is very loud, but great treasure most cultivator, usually have heard of these golden core great treasure cultivator of the name, our rooted Ben has not seen these people, plus all the way is to inspire top grade spirit protecting ancient talisman, non-stop through a transmission shapeshift great art array, even if occasionally think Wei Suo these people some not where the cultivator, an instant also has lost Wei Suo and other people's traces, also do not know where they went. Li Ruohe and Qi Longshan have long planned for a long time. From which city to which city, there is no detour, so it took only half a day to reach the 4-elephant city of heavenly profound continent northern part. The location of Sixiang city is relative to the entire heavenly profound continent, but it is on the western edge. After passing through the Jialong city, you can reach Taisu city. After arriving in Taisu city, you have to go straight out of Heaven's Dome and cross the wilderness outside Heaven's Dome to Qingcheng ruins. The city that passed along the way is the most peaceful in the heavenly profound continent central region. Many of the cities are beautiful, immortal Qi is lingering, but after passing the heavenly profound continent central region, the more north, the more people are less and less, the environment is also more and more ridiculous and sinister, the city of cultivator has become sparse, the standard is sparsely populated, and the poor mountains are like water. Originally, the feelings of the 4 elephants to Wei Suo and others were already very dirty, but what Wei Suo and others did not think was that they just appeared from the transmission of shapeshift great art. Shortly after arriving at the city was like a horse cell being smashed, completely messed up. I don't need to inquire about it. From the cultivator's exclamation surging sound and intercourse, Wei Suo and Li Ruohe have heard an amazing news. It is also separated from the 4-elephant city by the yellow path city of Enter Long city. The Heaven's Dome outside is actually splitting again. Not long ago, the most northerly heaven cultivating city and the chilly city of the northern part of the Greek treasure, the Heaven's Dome outside, just broke open, and now the Heaven's Dome outside the yellow path city is cracked. A mouth. In addition to this Heaven's Dome, in less than a dozen days, broke the 3-way, this news is really amazing. Plow Palace Lord, fellow deist Wei, shapeshift great art, Reverend, you see if we want to see what kind of lust shape is the Heaven's Dome rip, or whether it is going to Taisu city directly regardless of this Heaven's Dome rip. Looking at the lust shape of this raging horse, the couple Qi Longshan and Qingping looked at each other and couldn't help but look at Wei Suo and others and said this. Looking at the look of the two, obviously also want to see how the lust shape is. Fellow Daoist Wei, what do you mean? Li Ruohe looked at Wei Suo and asked. Since it just happened to hit this heaven's dome rip, and this heaven's dome rips, it is a bit of a worry. This heaven's dome rip, there should be a lot of heavenly profound continent northern parts high-level cultivator. These heavenly profound continent the cultivator of northern part sect definitely has some research on this heaven's dome. If we go, we might be able to find some useful news. Wei Suo glanced at Li Ruohe and said, if I ask my opinion, I naturally agree with the past. I also feel that I have seen it in the past. By the way, I would like to hear about this heaven's dome shapeshift great art. Hua Reverend also nodded and said. In this case, let's go to Yellow Path City and say. Li Ruohe nodded immediately, and there was no nonsense in the moment. He directly rushed toward the secret place with at least 1,000 cultivators. Transmission shapeshift great art array secret place. The secret place sends the shapeshift great art array, which is connected to the Gijin city, and to the Gijin city, and then through a transfer of the shapeshift great art array, you can reach the Yellow Path City. In addition to the secret place to transmit the shapeshift great art array, Li Ruohe did not have any action, just let go of his divine consciousness, and a divine consciousness pressure of the great treasure emerged from him. For a time, the cultivators around him suddenly changed slightly, and they automatically opened a passage like the tide. The divine consciousness pressure, which he released, has already made these cultivators feel that he is a great treasure cultivator of the golden core stage. This predecessor, not before the transmission of shapeshift great art, the majestic old man wearing the red shapeshift great art clothing has noticed Li Ruohe and Wei Suo, and his face immediately showed a look of awe. We are also going to Yellow Path City. These are my friends and I hope that fellow Daoist will give you a handy. Li Ruohe also didn't want to reveal his identity. After the old man said this sentence, he immediately entered the shapeshift great art array with Wei Suo and others. Please ask your seniors. The majestic old man's face suddenly looked awkward, and did not dare to have any scornful eyes on the two cultivators responsible for inspiring the shapeshift great art array. The two cultivators, also wearing the red shapeshift great art, suddenly saw the situation immediately ignited the transmission of the shapeshift great art. Hurry! The rip outside the Yellow Path City is no smaller than the rip in the last Chili City. It is said that there have been a lot of level 5 level 6 monster beasts appearing, and now rushing, so dangerous. You know what? Yellow Path City and Argijin City are the closest. If the Yellow Path City is flooded by the monster beast, the secret place can't be blocked. The distance of the miles is very fast. Gijin City may not be able to withstand it. As the spirit light of the shapeshift great art array flickers, Wei Suo and others who just appeared in the transmission of shapeshift great art in Gijin City feel like they are entering a pot of hot porridge. A burst of surging sound surged into the ear, and the secret place was flying. Gijin City, which is the closest to Yellow Path City, is more chaotic than Sixiang City. This Gijin City is not within the plan of Li Ruohe etal, and there is nothing about the great treasure of this Gijin City. But looking at the direction of many cultivators in the blink of an eye, Wei Suo and Li Ruohe didn't even ask questions, and they already saw that the secret place was definitely the transmission of shapeshift great art to Yellow Path City. Golden Core Cultivator, is Jade Pond Reverend. At this time, a white escape light suddenly rose from the city with amazement, just a few flashes, and landed on the secret place to transmit the shapeshift great art array. Some cultivators who had been rushing into the shapeshift great art array did not dare to compete with this person, first letting this person enter the transmission shapeshift great art array. The cultivation base of the golden core first layer. When the white escape light rises, Wei Suo has seen it clearly. This person is a middle-aged Qing dynasty with a white jade crown. The white spiritual qi outside is a condense with a white small pool. Because of the distance, the golden core cultivator fell behind and could not be seen. Pa! But just between the two breaths, a surge sound was transmitted from the secret place of the shapeshift great art array, and at the same time the secret place seemed to light up. This is not good, the shapeshift great art array was destroyed. There is a kind of worm that specifically destroys the shapeshift great art array. Be careful to send the shapeshift great art array. Jade Pond Reverend. Immediately, a surging sound and a screaming surging sound, the non-stop blasted up. The faces of Li Ruohe and Wei Suo and others suddenly changed, and the shapeshift great art was passed over the secret place. Dedication. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 485. Chapter 485 Reinforcement. Its golden core cultivator. Who is this person? It seems that it is not a cultivator in the nearby city. It was extremely confusing to send the shapeshift great art array. Li Ruohe released the divine consciousness pressure as before, so that the surrounding cultivators felt that he was the golden core cultivator, before this transmission of the shapeshift great art array. At a glance, this scene of the transmission of the shapeshift great art array, Wei Suo suddenly took a breath in his heart. The entire transmission of the shapeshift great art array, except for the loss of spirit light, did not seem to have much damage on the outside, but the area around the shapeshift great art was scattered with fragments of shapeshift great art and flesh and blood. The fragment of this shapeshift great art suit is obviously the golden core cultivator Jade Pond Reverend. Apparently, when the shapeshift great art array was damaged, Jade Pond Reverend was just in the middle of the transmitted shapeshift great art array. Transmission of the shapeshift great art array is broken, the transmission channel collapses, it may be safe and sound, it may not be transmitted, or it may be transmitted to an unknown place, but it may also be strangled by the power of the frenzied space. At the moment, Jade Pond Reverend is the most unlucky one, and is strangled in the collapsed transmission channel. A golden core cultivator, in such a blink of an eye, directly fell into the transmission of shapeshift great art array, it is really unbearable. If Wei Suo and others were changed for this transfer, I am afraid it is the same result as Jade Pond Reverend. Wei Suo's divine consciousness consciously swept away, and did not find that the Jade Pond Reverend's golden core was scattered around. It seems that this Jade Pond Reverend was still smashed by the raging space. Some fragments of the naked body include the golden core. I don't know where it was sent. At this time, several escape lights flew down. Among the escape light are all the old people who look at least 5 or 60 years old, and at first glance they look like the elders of the true ancestor. These cultivation bases are not low, they are all in the thought division realm 4th layer 5th layer. As soon as they landed, the old people were all extremely angry and desperate. After all, it is not a great treasure pie in the heavenly profound continent northern part. There is only Jade Pond Reverend, the golden core cultivator in the whole section. Now the Jade Pond Reverend is not called a surging sound. This sent the shapeshift great art to the front, which of course made these people who were true to the real stunned. The younger generation is daring, don't know what the predecessors came from. But immediately felt the pressure on Li Ruohe, the old man who was desperately ruined, and immediately settled down. A short, fat priest dressed in a vermilion robes and a Taoist priest immediately greeted him, facing Li Ruohe. I asked for a ceremony. Under the following is a rogue cultivator from heavenly profound continent central region. I didn't know anything. I just heard some news from northern bright section. I just traveled to Xixiang city, but I heard that heaven's dome cracked outside Yellow Path city. I had a pass, so I rushed over, but I didn't expect it to be like this. Li Ruohe also didn't want to reveal his identity, just replied. Be careful, don't leave these two monster insects. At this time, a sharp-faced old man wearing a black shapeshift great art suit was a surging sound sternly shouted. I saw that he and the other two old men had already taken out an elliptical crystal stone from the shapeshift great art array. This crystal stone is the broken shapeshift great art crystal that Wei Suo saw at the Extreme Pleasure Palace intercourse. At this moment, there are several obvious cracks in the oval crystal stone. The thin black light is spurting out from the elliptical crystal stone and going out. Hearing this surging sound sternly shouted, the chunky priest who was talking to Li Ruohe suddenly changed his face, and at the same time, at least 5 or 6 splendid light had already hit the two thin black splendid light. But these two thin black brilliances are not only in the air, but the speed is amazing, and the movements are extremely flexible. Several flying and winding, they are all attached to a few brilliance sides, avoiding the interception of these brilliance. Seeing these two black lines are about to fly above the sky, suddenly seeing, a surging sound of the slap is light, I saw a black and black crystal-like ghost claw suddenly grabbed out of thin air, but it is directly the black line caught it. This suddenly bursts from the bottom of the yin fiend chi, the powerful energy is obviously very terrifying. This fellow deist, the chunky cultivator, is applying shapeshift great art. Suddenly, I saw that these two black lights have been caught. I turned my head and saw that the black and black ghost claws have completely disappeared. The look of Wei Suo's in the right hand is two black bugs. The two bugs and the red fox reverend were exactly the same in the Extreme Pleasure Palace, but now they are completely stiff and have been killed by Wei Suo mystic fiend ghost claw. At the moment, these elders who belong to the true sects must have already understood this kind of unknown worm. At this moment, when we saw Wei Suo, they smothered the two worms and looked at Wei Suo's eyes. It is also awe-inspiring. Hurry! First take out the shapeshift great art crystals from the rest of the shapeshift great art array and take them out to save them. After a slight return to the return of God, the chunky old deist suddenly reacted to what it was like, issued a surging sound great treasure called. The sharp-faced old man in black and the other two old men immediately turned into a great treasure. They flew directly without any pause, and sent the shapeshift great art array to the other secret points in the city. The seniors, now this transmission of the shapeshift great art array cannot be used. If you want to rush to the Yellow Path City reinforcements, you can only rely on the flying spoon shift great art great treasure. At this time, the chunky old deist looked at the temperament of Wei Suo and Qi Longshan, and also saw the clues. I know that these people are not golden core cultivators, at least divine ability, not the general cultivator. Compared. Sure enough, this monster insect. Li Ruohe glanced at the two black bugs in Wei Suo's hand. After saying this to Wei Suo, he frowned and looked at the chunky old deist. Now this kind of monster insect is in heavenly profound continent northern part. How is the lust shape? Is there any effective way to deal with shapeshift great art? And I see that this transmission of the shapeshift great art array has only been transmitted to Yellow Path City, and there is no Yellow Path City cultivator. Can such monster insects be reversed? The seniors, last time Heaven's Dome split two gaps, after so many transmissions of shapeshift great art array damage, there is no other transmission of shapeshift great art array damage. It is reasonable that such monster insects should not spread. As for the habit of this monster insect, now we only know that this monster insect is usually in pairs, destroying the shadow shift great art crystal for a while, and knowing that this monster insect has no shapeshift great art and engulfs the fire attribute crystal stone. After the shapeshift great art crystal is removed, it is placed in a container made of fire attribute crystal stone, so that it will not be damaged. Right. The most amazing feature of this monster insect is that it can survive in the space-type shapeshift great art great treasure like the treasure receiving pocket. It is also not safe to put the broken shapeshift great art into the treasure receiving pocket if there is a possibility of such a monster insect around. Be sure to place the broken shapeshift great art crystal in a container made of fire attribute crystal stone. Speaking of this secret place, the face of the chunky old deist is very ugly. As for other precautions, there is nothing, unless it is to arrange a small thing to enter the restrictions that will give a warning. Otherwise, the worm could not be found at all, because the worm is not even a few reveals, and even the divine consciousness has no shapeshift great art to feel the worm. Lu Elder. At this time, the old black-faced old man was stunned back, and his face was ugly called a surging sound. After the chunky old deist, he was arched to Li Ruohe and Wei Suo. A gift, if you want to reinforce Yellow Path City, you should be as soon as possible. The shapeshift great art array of Minamoto was also damaged. Water City, the chunky old deist's face is ugly. Yes, when I took the break of shapeshift great art on our side, I found that the shapeshift great art array was no longer working. It must have been a problem on their side. The black-faced old man's took a deep breath, seems to be waiting for the next step of the chunky old deist. To fellow deist, I am not a cultivator of heavenly profound continent northern part, we are ignorant. I don't know what this relationship has to do with the city of Gajan City and Yellow Path City. Wei Suo's brows and jumps, watching the chunky old deist and the black-faced cultivator ask. We have been connected to the sharpshift great art array in Yellow Path City several times in the city this week. We only have two of our Gajan City and Minamata City. In other words, the rest of the city's cultivator wants to go to Yellow Path City, and only from these two cities. Now our Gajan City and Minamata transmission shapeshift great art array all have problems. Speaking of this, the chunky old deist didn't go on, but Wei Suo and Li Ruohe and others have already understood it. There is no direct transmission of the shapeshift great art array. If you want to go to the Yellow Path City, you can only rely on the shadow shift great art great treasure and the scorpion from each city. That is to say, at this moment, Yellow Path City equivalent to become a lonely city, the reinforcement of the cultivator will be very slow. How do you say? After taking a deep breath, Li Ruohe immediately looked at Wei Suo and Qi Longshan and others. What can I do? Go. Wei Suo and Qi Longshan and others looked at each other and could not help but show a bitter smile. Not to mention that in order to guard against this kind of zerg, Gajan City has taken out the shapeshift great art, and all the transmitted shapeshift great art arrays have been deactivated. Even Gajan City dares to use the shapeshift great art array. Wei Suo people are not afraid to use it at all. Who knows if it will be the same as this Jade Pond Reverend? The shapeshift great art array has just been stunned and destroyed. The lust shape at the moment, even if this monster insect is the cover of the heavens dome, it is already hidden by the transmission of the shapeshift great art array, or it has already been scattered in the heavenly profound continent northern part. Even if it is rushed back to the 4th Xiangcheng, Wei Suo and others did not dare to go to Taisu by sending shapeshift great art. The most insured party, shapeshift great art, flew past the flying shift great art great treasure, so there was no special great treasure difference from Yellow Path City and Tai City to Heaven's Dome. And since they have already reached the secret place, Wei Suo and others naturally want to go to Yellow Path City to see what it is. In the absence of sufficient timely reinforcements, not to mention blocking the cracks in time, Yellow Path City itself cannot hold, it is a problem. In this case, I am afraid to use your flying shapeshift great art great treasure. Upon hearing Wei Suo's, Li Ruohe immediately nodded, and the sound transmission to Wei Suo said, shapeshift great art Hua fellow deist's flying shift great art great treasure is fast, but it can only carry him alone. Fellow deist, lust is urgent, we will use shapeshift great art great treasure directly in the city, take a step first. Wei Suo is no nonsense. After saying this to the old-fashioned Taoist priest and the black-faced old man, he immediately presented Qi fire boat, a surging sound of in the surging sound, and boarded Qi fire boat. Wei Suo and others immediately turned into a black-red escape light, which spurred toward Yellow Path City at an alarming rate. G. Dedication.